Well, they're getting things kicked off here this week. Of course, looking at U.S. weather, we did get some rain over this last week into the weekend. A little bit more of some chances of things moving here or coming in here moving forward for this week as we kind of get into the full swing of harvest. So, what do you got for us this week in terms of what we can look forward to in the near term for U.S. weather and kind of mix it in with where we've been over this past month?
Yeah, the rains, I mean, I'm going to call them disappointing only because they missed my house, right? I mean, but some folks, I mean, really got a good drink. There was some of these storms in the Midwest put down 2+ inches of rainfall. Some of it, there was a little bit of severe. We had a tornado report in Illinois, several wind reports, which is not good. I've heard a lot of issues with this current crop on stand quality, that it grew so fast in June and July that there were some issues there. So we do need to be aware of these winds. But the reality is, I mean, there's rain in the mid-south, there's rain in the Midwest, and it was needed. But I'm going to show you something here. You've been watching a radar animation of it. This is what was had around the country over the weekend. Okay. Now, what kills me about it is if I zoom in on the Midwest and you just kind of have a close look here. I mean, that's the hole that went around my house. I'm the 0.06 inches, whereas nearby places picked up an inch and a half, 2 inches. And that's kind of been the way the rainfall has been distributed. So this did not, really punch a hole in the drought scenario so far. But at this particular stage in the year, what is rain? Rain is a disruptor. I mean, to be honest with you, we want to get harvest completed, then get the rain in place so that we have good field, conditions to do fall field work. But the reality is that some folks, we're kind of in a love-hate with rain right now. But I'm always thinking about the bigger picture, Dawson. Like we've got 6 months before we get this next crop going. And what is the drought monitor going to look like 6 months from now? Because it's gone up 20% in the last 5 weeks for total area, and a lot of that's been in the mid-south and in the Ohio Valley. I mean, look at the stats. I mean, we've got still most of Missouri, Kentucky, Tennessee, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, all the way to the Northeast, still recording in many cases their driest, such time frame. What is the time frame? August 1 to September 21. So that rain came through as a band-aid, but we need more rain. Now, by the way, if you're curious, why has it been so wet here? Okay, this is kind of a neat thing to look at. The Bermuda high is definitely displaced. See, it's way over there. But there's still flow that's coming around another high pressure cell that's parked over the southeast since the second week of September. And that's what's driven the moisture into that area. But it's the hurricanes that have been way out to open ocean. I mean, every track has been to open ocean. And yeah, we've got Gabrielle, Cat 3. It's a major hurricane, may reach Cat 4 by the end of the day. But where are the next two systems? Maybe doing this and maybe doing that, staying out to open ocean on that eastward displaced Bermuda high. Now, some models are attempting to take this next system. See it right here. This is this Sunday, getting into Monday, Tuesday, trying to take it along the East Coast. And I'll be honest with you, if it's a weak system and it can break the drought that's in parts of the Carolinas, they would be fine with that. A weak system that delivers rain would be good. But it's only the GFS that's attempting to do that. Most of the other models you see here curl the next tropical systems out to open ocean. Now, Dawson, as we get into the month of October, we have to look globally at tropical cyclones as well because systems over here can recurve and get into the jet stream, which can really disrupt things across North America. As it stands, the big dog, Ragasa, I think is how you say it, is just a monstrous hurricane. It was Cat 5 this morning. It got too close to land, so it's been downgraded to Category 4, but it's going straight toward Guangdong Province, which is here. Okay, very, very densely populated part of China. Hong Kong is here. And as it goes toward it, we're expecting, just take a look right down here in this image. We're expecting this particular tropical system to put down 8 to 12 inches of rainfall. That's major, major flooding. But in the Pacific, I'm more interested in this one than this one. Neoguri, I think is how we say it, because it has the chance of going toward the north. And you can see the forecast models are saying, hey, maybe this system's got a better shot at going this way, which if you're curious where you are, these are the Japanese islands here, okay? Now, why I care about that is we're just stuck in this. There's this low in the Gulf of Alaska that's turning up a bunch of cold water, but all the moisture is targeting British Columbia. Big ridge sitting over the United States, keeping us mild. And only one little system, the one we just talked about, is the only thing that's sneaking through. So, what I don't like about this pattern is look how dry this is. Very dry Canadian Prairie Northern Plains. And I know you're looking at that going, man, I see rain, I see storms. Yeah, I think the dividing line, though, is much sharper to the north than what you see from the WPC forecast. Let me show you what I mean. Yes, today we have storms. When we take a look at where our storm risk is today in parts of Iowa, it's down here in parts of Kansas and Oklahoma, and then also over in the eastern Corn Belt. But over the next couple of days, wherever that front goes, I'm just going to be watching where the risk is for the heaviest rainfall and how far to the south it stays. So some of the US models, watch what they're doing later today and tonight. See your storms over here in Iowa, got to keep a close eye on those. And then the storms that are blowing up in the plains. We then take note that that rainfall, oh, it looks like it's going to hit Missouri and St. Louis over toward the central part of Illinois. And I'm just going to tell you, there's going to be a hard northern edge to this that the models are not picking up on. Maybe the European is getting it. Look at this. That's through the end of the week, getting into next week. And look how sharp that line is there. And I'm on that line, man. So I'm watching this. That line's important to me because we've had field fires around here in Illinois, in all seriousness last week, just because of how dry it's been. If you bring up the winds with this, my goodness, we need to get some of this moisture. But is there good moisture coming to the mid-south? Yeah, look at the probability in this corridor of getting at least an inch of rain. That's going to hit the terrible parts of Arkansas, Kentucky, Tennessee, the Ohio Valley, because I got places in through here that up until this last weekend had not measured rainfall in a couple of places almost 60 days. So they need to get this moisture into place and they really need to stick around. And the unfortunate problem is you drop a big ridge in the middle of North America. This is the September 30 to October 6 forecast. It's not very generous. It goes back into that drier pattern. So what I want to know is where does the Mississippi sit by the time we get into this time next week when we talk? I imagine it's going to make a little bump up, but it's almost 7.5 feet below low stage. And if you followed up with a dry week after that, then why is the water level going to come back up? And just to take note, the new second and third week of October, like that time frame, is showing up drier again. See, I mean, you can see it creeping in from the north. And the new European model forecast is not only drier, but I mean, it's got the driest conditions anchored down here, meaning they need a tropical system badly in the lower Mississippi Valley in order to break their drought situation. Okay, so where do we go from there? Well, the new long-range drought outlook does not look good if you're across the Cotton Belt over to the Mid-South and Delta, right? We're still in drought in the Eastern Corn Belt as well. They're predicting a break in the Northwest, which is common during a La Nina. So before we get to that long range, though, let's talk a bit about temperatures and where this pattern's going. Look at the jet coming straight across the Pacific and then just going way up here and then going straight across the Atlantic. I mean, it's just missing us, man. It's just missing this part of the world. And that's why it's been so warm. So let's talk temperatures where we do long range here. Very mild in the past, and we don't see major frost. And look what the temperatures are doing. Very warm going forward. This is just some rain cooled air, but I mean, what does that mean down here? Nothing. That's still 80s. And then we just go out there, and I don't see any major intrusions of cold air, even though some of the models are saying maybe something doing this, but not out there until we're fully into that second week of October. So there it is. That's maybe the guess as to when we have a shot at cooler air. But Dawson, I mean, this is the 22nd. Today's the equinox, and I don't see real cold air getting in here maybe until the second week of October. And I was just talking to a guy in Iowa this morning. He's like, "Man, can you just bring in a frost?" I'm like, "What? Why?" And he's like, "Just to kill the bugs." And so there we are. That's what I've got for you in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, and you kind of got ahead of two of my thinking. I was going to bring up that seasonal drought monitor map that was just released last week of,
Yeah,
yeah,
let's go
just
look at it.
that whole incursion of drought expansion coming into much of those plains areas, much into the Cotton Belt area. And look, tying that into the long range, kind of what are our influences there and what might we expect? Because, NOAA did come out with that recent outlook for La Nina having a 71% probability of kind of being a weaker La Nina come this fall and winter.
Yeah. So I mean, here is the drought data you just mentioned, just to get an idea what that looks like. And most of our drought all summer was west of the Continental Divide, but then we watched it build in. And I mean, look at the last 4 weeks, how much it's changed here. And by the way, let's just do this. Why not? If you got a second, I'm going to click on that map. That was on my website, agweather.com, but you can go get it here too. And if you come over here to the data and go to time series, this will show you the whole country's drought over time. And I'm just going to zoom in, right in through here. So we were at 40, at the beginning of August, we were at 44% covered, and now we're at 66%. I mean, there's your 20% increase in drought area, mainly concentrated in the mid-south. So they want to know what this La Nina is going to do for them as well. And I'm just going to tell you, is the La Nina is going, but there's a lot of warm water still across the North Pacific. Now, lately, it's cooled off. But this is amazing. It's cooled off 3 or 4 degrees and it's still warmer than average. That's how hot those ocean temperatures were. We want to know what this La Nina is going to do going forward. And right now, the CPC is biting into it. So, this is their October, November, December forecast. Okay. So, you got precip on the right and you have the temperatures on the left. And now you can see why they're trying to break the drought in the Northwest by keeping it here. You then get into December, January, February, they're doing very typical La Nina things. Cool it off here, cold air intrusions there, but mild across the Sun Belt and Cotton Belt. And that's also where they've got things dry. So they're expecting the jet to come in like this and leave like that. And then this is the most La Nina forecast I've ever seen, or La Nina like. This is their January, February, March. Now, be great to break drought in places, but not build it back into these regions. So we need to see, and I'm just going to tell you this, Dawson, and I know you know this, but winters are dominated by sub-seasonal factors. La Nina is a seasonal thing, but it's polar vortex disruptions. It's big, deep troughs in the Gulf of Alaska or the Bering Sea, followed up by, Hudson Bay troughs or Scandinavian ridges, or, I mean, we could go on and on. I could just go through the whole glossary of meteorology for you, Dawson, but that's what really dominates, I should say, the wintertime precipitation across the US. I just care about what the drought monitor looks like in April. That's going to be the most critical piece for agriculture.
Yeah, and right now we're trending in the wrong direction for that drought monitor. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how things shape up here with these uh mainly the weather, I guess, moving past harvest at this point. But moving down south, though, as planting is starting to really be rolling in South America, kind of what's your latest outlook there? Because you and I were both talking before this that numbers are starting to roll through on the soybean planting season down in Brazil.
Yeah, I mean, I can just pull up data from Mato Grosso quickly here. They're at 0.5% planted, but as you know, here's the end of October. So by the end of October, they should be 80% planted. All we need to know is, do they do something like this year and get there by the third week of November? Or are we doing something like this where we're not getting there until the second week of November, right? So it's got to be end of October or beginning of November or somewhere between. And we just need to know what it's going to do. And right now, there's a nice little front coming through. See it right here? There it is. That's their cold front coming through. And look at what it's doing in terms of precip. Let me show you the European model. Here we go. It's bringing in rain. See that? And they're going to use this rain to get planted. But you got to be careful with this forecast because you're like, oh, look, the next 10 days are wet. No, 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 no. The next 3 days are wet. Week 2 is drier. And that monsoon coming in fits and spurts is going to be a tricky thing to navigate. And I want to know, and in fact, I'm going to be meeting with a group of Brazilians later today, Dawson. And what I learned from them about this, I'll make sure we talk about next week. But I know they're waiting on a good solid 2 inches of rain, and the chances of getting 1 inch of rain in the next 10 days are shown here. And that's not enough of the main growing area to say that, boy, this is it. They're going to go, it's going to just take off. I do expect planting speed to be faster than normal in the beginning, but where are we by that third week of October? That'll be something you and I need to talk about a lot. So a month from now, basically.
Yeah, and just a quick note too is that last week, CONAB came out with their most recent estimates too for what they're expecting to be planting, and they're already raising that planted acreage by another 3%, which is more than what I initially had expected. So, I mean, I wonder if that's going to kind of bring in a little bit of maybe a slower pace to the whole thing as well. I'm not sure how they do a lot of those estimates down there either.
I don't know, but I mean, 3% would just follow their decade-long trend, right? So
Yeah.
I don't think we shouldn't be surprised by that. I really want to know if it's true. I mean, and I'm going to ask these Brazilians today. I mean, these guys right now are under entirely different margins than they were a decade ago, especially 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And unless you know there's some place for those beans to go, right? Then why be so aggressive on acreage? Um, that'll be the question. So we've got a lot to figure out, and it's amazing to think just how nonstop it is now, right? I mean, we used to get a
Yeah.
break. Maybe you don't remember that, but I remember when we used to get a break after a harvest of just less chaos in the markets, but we're right now into a new growing season in another part of the world.
Yeah, the seasonals have definitely changed over the past decade on that of what we've been looking at. Obviously, I haven't been in the industry that long, but
I'm
yeah,
just
that's
teasing you,
but
Dawson. I know you're a young guy, but hey, take that as an advantage, all right?
yeah, but appreciate that. Yeah, we will be looking forward to the an update on South America next week, and yeah, continue to watch this drought monitor moving forward, see what actually comes through for a lot of these rains as we're looking into a lot of those subseasonal factors here moving forward into the fall and winter. But always appreciate your insights, Eric, and we'll talk to you again next week.
All right, thanks, man.